It is the busiest week in the National Hockey League's history in the month of August as we continue through the return to play and the opening round, the qualifying round of the Stanley Cup playoffs in Edmonton and in Toronto. Game number 2 of the round robin in the Western Conference for the Vegas Golden Knights today against the St. Louis Blues, and a lot at stake. Welcome to the Morning Skate Report. Darren Millard along with Stormy Bonner-Tony. We will take you through the game against Dallas and then the implications of what they're going to face and the challenge against the St. Louis Blues, and also bring you up to date with what's happening on the Western Conference picture. But this game against the St. Louis Blues, while it's only game 2 and it's a round robin, there's some urgency here.
Yeah, I mean, first of all, can I just say it's game day, and I get so hyped up about the fact that it's August and we're talking about hockey right now. But yeah, there is a little bit of a sense of urgency. Colorado is in the driver's seat right now in the round robin for the West, and St. Louis Blues, while they did drop their first game and they did lose their exhibition as well, they didn't look quite to their stuff. You know, today they're going to be hungry and they're going to be determined to come out here and get some more points up, because they can still finish as high as second if they do win this game and then they win moving forward.
I expect a great start from both sides because of what the Golden Knights did against the Dallas Stars and being sluggish in the opening 2 periods before Pete DeBoer juggled up his lineups, and we saw the stirring comeback in that third period. And you're right, St. Louis, having already dropped a game, need to be able to find some magic in this round robin if they want a top 2 seed. Remember, they entered with the best record in the Western Conference at the pause, and now they're looking at a situation where there could be 3 or 4 seed. So there's certainly some desperation there. A Vegas win today means that the Golden Knights will finish at the very least in the number 2 seed. So that's what's at stake for Pete DeBoer and company.
Yeah, and for a team that entered this as the 3 seed, to just be able to move up that one step is that much better. Their ultimate goal, obviously, is to be the top seed and have that easiest trajectory to the Stanley Cup final. But, like, every moment you can see just how important it is. Like, that is why I think the third period against Dallas was so critical for them to be able to find their game, for them to be able to find whatever that spark was, to know that they have it so that they can continue that momentum throughout these next couple games.
5-3 victory over the Dallas Stars to open up the round robin. The Dallas Stars lost their second game, so they're 0-2. They're in a big hole right now. The opposite for the Golden Knights, who managed to dig themselves out of a depression in the first 2 periods. And it came courtesy of some lineup changes, which we'll get to in just a little bit, but really rode the emotional leadership of Mark Stone, who coupled that part of his game with the pure skill. Mark Stone, with that goal, now has 7 in his 8 career playoff games as a Vegas Golden Knight, and this jump-started things in the final frame.
Yeah, he's pretty good. Talked about how in the first 2 periods they came out flat, and then really in the third period, that's what got things going for this team to catapult into the eventual win, and a 4-goal third period to go on and get that victory.
Nick Cousins with a beautiful play at the blue line, a little touch pass to Mark Stone, who somehow managed to beat Ben Bishop from 20 feet, which is very, very hard to do.
Clean from distance, and you saw just the offensive, I don't know, like acumen, I guess, that Nick Cousins really can have too, which I thought was very impressive.
And one part about that play that we haven't talked about a lot was it wasn't like Stone was in all alone. He had somebody draped all over him and still managed to find a way to get the puck to the net.
But that's Mark Stone, and that's what makes him so good on the ice. That's what makes him a leader, is that he can just find a way when sometimes there isn't one presented to him.
All the lines got juggled up except for one, and that was the fourth line. Tomasz Nosek, along with Ryan Reeves and Will Carrier, and they, like the rest of the players, had a real issue getting going in the first 2 periods. But in the third period, Carrier threw a hit about 6 minutes into that final frame, and then it was that unit that was responsible for the game-winning goal in not only dramatic fashion, but a little bit of unexpected skill from Will Carrier to be able to make this play.
Yeah, well, and you mentioned the hit. Pete DeBoer does call that line his kind of tone-setting line. So it makes sense that they were able to be it used in that way once again. But Will Carrier, behind the back, between the legs, no look, and he's just putting pucks on the net. He's just putting pucks on the net.
What a hockey player line. Afterwards, when he was asked to describe it or about his goal.
I swear to you, I knew as soon as the question was asked. Like, we've just talked to Will so much, and he's just that guy. I knew as soon as the questions were coming out of the interviewer's mouth, I was like, he's just going to put pucks on the net. He's just trying to get pucks deep, get pucks on the net.
The goal was initially disallowed, and Pete DeBoer was confident enough in what he saw to challenge the play, risking a delay of game penalty if it's unsuccessful, to try to make sure that goal stood up. So that's the game-winning goal. A lot going on there between the coach and the fourth line and the players all stepping up in the third period, but they really did rescue something.
Well, and after the game said that, in that moment, like, I wanted to do this for the team. I believed in them. I believed in what they were doing in the third period. And then also, I didn't think that I thought Will Carrier did everything to avoid contact. So he saw the kind of both sides of that he wanted to support the team just like they showed up and supported each other. And then he also thought it was a good look.
An incredible 4-goal outburst for the Vegas Golden Knights against the Dallas Stars in that final frame to open up the round robin, but it was less than smooth through the first and second periods. And that's when Pete DeBoer had seen enough and decided to change his lines about halfway through the game. With one exception, he thought that Nick Cousins was really good. But here's Pete DeBoer talking about Cousins and about the lineup changes against Dallas.
Yeah, I gave it as long as I thought I could. I thought, it was a period and, at least almost a half probably before we started to shuffle the deck. You keep hoping they'll work their way out of it and work their way through it, but it wasn't happening. And, a coach only has so many tools in those situations to use, and that's obviously one of them. I knew it was a team-wide problem because we really didn't have anybody that was very good in the first 40 minutes other than, I thought Nick Cousins was probably our best forward. And I thought Robin Leonard was real solid. So, it was an easy decision, and it didn't work immediately in the second period. We didn't get a lot of results from it, but I thought in the third we were real good.
Just on the subject of Nick Cousins, on the heels of changing up the lines, he puts Cousins up to the top unit with Mark Stone. And, boy, Nick Cousins just seems to be that guy that brings the fight to everybody and gets people going as much as Mark Stone with the emotion.
Yeah, and I think that him being a little bit of an agitator kind of helps with that as well, that he causes a little bit of problems with the other teams, just getting kind of annoyed with his presence in general. But he is such a plug-and-play forward. We've seen him be really interchangeable. You can move him up and down the lineup. He can kind of fit with anybody and make those subtle adjustments to his game that he can do that.
I think he's really becoming a story with the Golden Knights, not just from the trade deadline acquisition, but I think what we saw in training camp and now the subsequent performances in Edmonton, there's going to be a part for him in almost every game where he's going to be really noticeable.
Yeah, and can I just say he's kind of a character too. It seems like just the general feel of the locker room, he's fit in really well with all of the guys, and I'm sure that's helped ease it too, but he's making an impact on the ice, and at this time of the year, that's when you want it to happen.
So when training camp started, he was on the fourth line. By the time the game ended in the round robin, the Stanley Cup playoffs, he was on the first line the other night. Nick Cousins has certainly had an impact. As far as what we'll see today against the St. Louis Blues, Pete DeBoer had the option. Stick with what he did against the Dallas Stars in the back half of the game, about halfway through the second period, or go back to the lines that he was going with to start the game against Dallas and was really settled on throughout training camp. And this is what he's decided to do, go back to Old Faithful. And this is what he had in line through much of Phase 3 and training camp, with the exception of Stevenson takes Max Pacioretty's spot again on that line with William Karlsson and Mark Stone. That is temporary as we wait for the arrival of Max Pacioretty, who has not yet joined the team in Edmonton. Stastny, Marchessault, Smith remain together. Cousins drops back with Nick Waugh and Alex Tuck, and Will Carrier, Thomas Nosek, and Ryan Reeves on the fourth line.
Yeah, and that's the look that through camp Pete DeBoer felt really comfortable with. That's kind of the less disruptive, I guess, in terms of with Max Pacioretty out, the way that you could shake things up. But he did say, like, it was really nice to know that he has a line like Marchessault, Carlson, and Smith that he can have in his back pocket, that the analytics do show that they've had success together in the past, that if he does need to make those tweaks like they did in the second and third period the other day, that there are good, positive, workable options that have proven themselves in the past as well. But this is the look that he wants.
And the name at the bottom, Marc-Andre Fleury, goes back in goal. He played the exhibition game against the Arizona Coyotes, was very strong in that victory, stopping 23 of 24. And after Robin Lehner beat the Dallas Stars, the goalie rotation is in full force.
Yeah, and this is what we saw at the end of the regular season ahead of the pause as well. When we acquired Robin Lehner at the trade deadline, it was just kind of a off and on rotation there. Robin Lehner, 4-0 as a Golden Knight, which is pretty impressive. Excited to see what he can do and can continue to do with this team. But Marc-Andre Fleury has been a staple of the Golden Knights from day one. He's a leader on the ice, off the ice, and great to have him back in net, see what he can do. I think these two are going to make it really, really tough on Pete DeBoer when it comes to who's going to be the starter game one of the first round of the playoffs, and then maybe not game one, but moving forward as well, just kind of how he's going to continue to deploy these guys.
Well, big challenges for both here. St. Louis, who they'll face this afternoon, is one of three teams that Marc-Andre has a sub-500 record against, and Colorado just was a bad matchup for Vegas this year.
Colorado's a bad matchup
for everybody. So both goaltenders are going to have to overcome and dig a little bit deeper for victories here if the Golden Knights are going to have that number one seed. But the St. Louis Blues provide the opposition. Haven't seen their best game so far in Edmonton between the exhibition game and the loss against the Colorado Avalanche. But this is a team that against the Golden Knights this year, they played 3 times. Vegas had the advantage, Stormy, with those 2 wins. You remember those at T-Mobile and Fortress.
How could
just
you forget?
Incredible rallies. But in the overall performance head-to-head, they both had 4 points because of the overtime bonus point. So it's pretty even. 2 games go into overtime, and you look at the fact that both are division winners at the pause. So a great matchup here.
Yeah, this will be a great matchup. So will Colorado. Both very different teams, both very different goaltenders for the Golden Knights that'll be used in these 2 games. But with the Blues specifically, like, I cannot help but just thinking back to those last 2 games at T-Mobile Arena and the way that the Golden Knights had to make this rally and make this comeback to eventually get those overtime game winners. And of course, given the chaoticness that there was against Dallas, like, I think that'll be really, really important for the Golden Knights, as we kind of talked about off the top, is to get off to a really good start, because you don't want to be in a situation against the defending Stanley Cup champion and a team that does play a heavy, hard 4-line game to have to rally, to have to be in that position. The Golden Knights were 4-21-2 in the regular season when trailing after 2 periods. So yes, they got it done twice against the Blues, but that statistically, you don't want to be in that position if you're the Golden Knights.
Do have good vibes based on what they did against Dallas, but use that more as a teaching moment to not put yourself in that position again. And the St. Louis Blues, not only did they lose in heartbreaking fashion to the Golden Knights on a couple of occasions at T-Mobile, but their opening game of the round robin, with Nazem Kadri scoring for Colorado late, I mean, that's crushing.
I thought that Max Pacioretty's goal against Nashville with 0.3 seconds was going to be the tightest thing we would ever see this year. 0.1 seconds? Are you kidding me? Like, I cannot imagine what the Blues were thinking in that moment. They're like, okay, we're going to go to overtime. We're for sure at least going to get 1 point in this, maybe even win. Instead, they're walking away with 0 points after that goal.
And by the way, the fact that goal counted was a good thing for the Golden Knights, because it avoids that whole 3-point scenario, and because the tiebreaker, if Vegas is tied with either Colorado or St. Louis, the tiebreaker goes to those 2 teams because of higher points percentage during the course of the regular season.
If I'm St. Louis, I'm having like nightmares about that goal.
I know. It's funny, that fine line, Stormy. You use the exhibition game as a tune-up, but you don't win, and then the cumulative effect is you lose that challenge and the goal in the final 10th of a second, and now you're 0-2 in Edmonton in the return to play, and you're up against it today.
Yeah, and everybody's still at this point where they're trying to find their game. And I think for St. Louis specifically, once they find it and once they get to it and they're there consistently, like, they're very similar to the team we saw last year that made the run and went on to win the Stanley Cup. They could very easily do that again if they find their game, but a big key for the Golden Knights is going to be to not allow them to do that.
So you don't, when you go into a scenario like this, necessarily put a total game plan in place for a one-off in the round robin. Not like you would be for a best-of-5 series or a best-of-7, where you kind of put in real intricate and deep philosophies. But Pete DeBoer coached last year for San Jose in the Western Conference playoffs, got by the Golden Knights, and then faced the St. Louis Blues and Colorado Avalanche in back-to-back best-of-7 series. So he's familiar with Craig Berube and a lot of the personnel of the St. Louis Blues, including Vladimir Tarasenko, who's back in this one. So there is that recency bias that he can lean on.
And I did like, because you in the press conference yesterday, the way that you asked the question to Pete DeBoer, saying, I'm not.
Thank you very much, Kelly. I've been working on that.
Well, because you brought it up and you framed it really well, saying, I'm not going to go so far as to say it's an advantage having played them and having had that postseason experience against those teams, but does the familiarity help? And he said, well, I sure hope it does. And I'm sure the Golden Knights hope it does as well, in the little seeds that he can plant with the Golden Knights about what they might do in different situations.
Throw out a couple of names. Colton Parayko just has a huge shot from the point, helps out their power play a ton, and he was right there with Shea Theodore when it came to goal scoring from blue liners in the second half of the season. Alex Pietrangelo, the captain for the St. Louis Blues, career year. He's an unrestricted free agent after this year, trying to win the Stanley Cup in back-to-back years. Vladimir Tarasenko is also back, played 10 games before having the surgery on his shoulder. So there's 3 players right there, along with Jordan Binnington, that are key parts of this team.
Yeah, and that was huge for Tarasenko to be back out on the ice. The first time you saw him out there, you're just like, is this really happening? So happy for the Blues, to have a key player like that, a key cog back. But, this is a team that can fire on all cylinders from all different parts of the ice, offensively, defensively. They kind of have this complete game once they get to it, as I said earlier.
Do you think we'll see a high-scoring game? Because the 2 games at T-Mobile were wild.
I don't know, because I think of this round robin and this postseason like as a different season almost. I don't know how much you can really take from what did happen in the regular season to now, because things do just look and feel so different, and everything that happened during the pause is really like what's going to catapult or not certain teams right now. So I don't know if it's going to be high scoring or not. I'm sure that the Golden Knights would like to say on their end it will be, but not so much with St. Louis.
We have a great package coming up on how you can get involved when you watch the game against the St. Louis Blues, and hopefully Golden Knights victory. That's coming up in just a little bit. We want to bring you up to date with what's happening on the Western Conference side of things in this 24-team return to play unique format this year. We have 4 best-of-5 series that are well underway, and we'll start there with the Calgary Flames, an opportunity today to eliminate the beat-up and battered Winnipeg Jets. Still don't know at last check whether Patrick Laine or Mark Scheifele will be able to return for the Jets. And then you have Arizona trying to pull off the upset against Nashville, and Chicago, a 12 seed, has the advantage over the Edmonton Oilers. The other game tonight, by the way, Arizona and Chicago, those series will resume later. Tonight, it's Vancouver and Minnesota playing Game 3. The winner there takes a 2-1 series lead. And then the round robin storming. Colorado beat Dallas yesterday convincingly, so they're 2-0. And they're trying to run the table there. They played both goaltenders, too. Yeah. So has Dallas so far. So Colorado and Vegas and Dallas, 3 of the 4 teams in the round robin, have all played multiple goaltenders. And then you see Vegas and St. Louis in the middle, who collide today. 1-0 for the Golden Knights off that victory over Dallas, and St. Louis still searching for their first victory.
Yeah, and Colorado, as we talked about earlier, kind of the front runner in that round robin scenario right now with the 2 wins. Golden Knights an opportunity to do that today against the St. Louis Blues. Dallas, I feel for Dallas right now. They're having a tough go of it in this round robin already.
Entered as the 4th seed, did a lot of tweaking during their training camp, and it's really altered what they were trying to do in the offensive zone to try and create more low-scoring team in the National Hockey League. And it looked good for a couple of periods. Rick Bowness did say, like, it's a work in progress with them, and when they go away from what he's trying to do, it really hurts them.
Well, and I will say, too, being the 4 seed, maybe like one of the small flaws we've found in this 24-team postseason format is that, like, being the 4 seed, it's kind of a win-win because you already are the 4 seed. You're not going to go any lower than that. Your only option really is to go up or to stay the same. So it's not really a hindrance if they don't go anywhere, if they don't win a game. But I mean,
But
they're
boy, you don't want
obviously
to go on 3.
you don't want to go 0-3, and so it'll be interesting to see what happens with them with one more game to go.
Although it does not matter. And again, the round robin portion, the best record gets the number 1 seed for the Western Conference right on through to the Stanley Cup final. So that's last change. That's huge for coaches trying to do that, and confidence being able to look at that. So that's the stakes today. What's on the line for the Golden Knights is win, and it's a guaranteed at least number 2 seed.
Least a 2.
And then it goes down to Saturday's game against the Colorado Avalanche, in which the winner there would get the number 1 seed in the Western Conference and face the lower seed advancing out of those best of 5s, which could be the 12th seed Chicago Blackhawks.
Well, I know we're not in the nature of like getting too ahead of ourselves and saying, oh, there's going to be a win today. But how cool would that be if it is a win over the Blues today, and then that round robin game, the final one against the Colorado Avalanche and Vegas Golden Knights, is a battle for the top seed going into the first round of the playoffs? Like, as if these qualifiers and these round robin games in general haven't been exciting enough. Like, add that kind of pressure to it, it'll be fun.
That game against Colorado on Saturday. Still don't know a start time to that, hoping that it'll be released over the next few hours. We don't know. Probably tomorrow or tonight.
We shall
We don't
see.
know.
But hey, make sure
it does depend on the other series and whether they wrap up and where they go. And they're bouncing also around the schedule out of the Eastern Conference hub in Toronto. What do you brought something with you? So this is a watch party kit, and I'm going to get Stormy to unveil it a little bit.
Night up.
You can purchase this for your at-home watch party kit at the Arsenal, the Armory, or by visiting the Vegas Team Store and VegasTeamStore.com. And this is, we have a collection
lots of good stuff. So everything that I'm going to show you, you're going to get 4 of. So it's not just for you, it's for the whole gang. So an awesome rally towel, get it going. Light up stick. Oh, am I allowed to, like, I don't know if I'm allowed to do certain things with this, or if there's getting wild. I shouldn't be. Like,
and you get
can I?
4 of each of these.
Yes, 4
for your
of each
at-home
of these.
watch
Some
party kit.
noisemakers. 4 different noisemakers. So this is just one of them. Is that loud enough?
That's good.
Okay, sorry. I just wanted to make sure that we're having fun here. Some tattoos.
Let me give
You'll
you
get
a
an
hand.
upper deck of cards, or 4 of them again. But it's just going to be, this is what's going to make your watch party at home that much more fun. So get to the Arsenal, get to the Armory, get to VegasTeamSport.com. Have a blast. I need to get one of these for during the game when I'm not talking.
6 items. You get 4 of each for $30.
Honestly, that's a
at-home
great
watch party
value.
kit to get in the spirit as you watch the Vegas Golden Knights today against the St. Louis Blues or Saturday against Colorado Avalanche. And Vegas is already into the first round of the playoffs, qualified for that. Just don't know the seeding right now. So you $30 for the at-home watch party kit, and it can hopefully keep you really in that night-up spirit for a long playoff run.
Yeah, you're going to see me getting pretty weird in the game. Oh, I guess we're in a different spot
Yeah,
today.
we're going to change today. I'm
broadcast.
going to be back in Studio 31, and you will be in Mackenzie River Pizza,
Yes.
Grill, and Pub.
Yes, I'm going to be taking your old chair. I'm kind of excited about it, actually.
good setup.
It looks awesome. Like the whole setup that everybody's been able to do between the Golden Knights and City National Arena and Mackenzie River and then AT&T Sportsnet. It's been like a really good little combo. So I'm excited about it. But I'm going to be getting weird with the glow-up stick because it's so fun.
Do you think Gary will really appreciate the glow up stick, or do you think
I'm
it'll be
going to
distracting to him?
make Gary appreciate the glow-up stick.
What's your gut feeling? Do you have some vibes going into today?
I don't really. Like, I'm still trying to get a feel for where the Golden Knights at least specifically are at, because I know the way that they convey information and the way that it feels like they are all in this together. Their only one and only purpose going out there to Edmonton is to win the Stanley Cup, and they feel like they're fully capable of doing it. And then you see kind of like the up and down in these first couple games, and so you see the sparks and you see the passion, you see that they're capable of doing it in these moments, but is it sustained? Is it something that'll be a consistent? And so I'm just really interested in kind of finding out more about where the Golden Knights really are at. I think it's a win. I think it's a win today.
Well, the default for this round robin has been to say that they're not as intense as the best of 5 series. That's evolved a little bit, but I really think with the Stanley Cup champions being the opposition and that bar, Nick Holden said that's what you measure yourself against. And that was a team that followed it up a championship and still won the Western Conference regular season. So it actually had a better season this year than they did when they won. And because St. Louis dropped their opening game, they're in a much more desperate situation after one game. I think we're going to see
they're like
pistol of a game.
They've been like a bounce back team too. You know what I mean? Like a loss is something they've had a really easy time brushing off their shoulder and like coming back guns a-blazing. So I think it'll be really interesting. We heard from Nick Holden yesterday say about the first period that if we don't have our legs under us and we have a first period similar that we did against Dallas, like the game could be over against a team like this in the first period, and we can't have that happen.
Yeah, Robin Leonard was really good in that first period against Dallas. Got overshadowed by everything else that happened in the second and then a comeback in the third, but he was great. Marc-Andre Fleury will go tonight. He gets his second start in Edmonton. First start of the round robin. We'll see what happens on that front. Jordan Binnington expected to go for the St. Louis Blues as 2 division winners from the regular season. The Pacific's best in the Vegas Golden Knights and the Central Division's top team in the St. Louis Blues square off, and both teams have their eye on a top 2 seed. Going into the start of the best of 7s next week in the first round of the Stanley Cup playoffs. You will be part of the pregame show on AT&T Sportsnet at 3 o'clock Pacific time. We will have that and then get it to Dave and Shane.
So will you, our primary host, not just me.
We'll be part of that. On the radio side of things, we will have Gary Lawless with the commentary and Dan Duva with the play-by-play. The pregame show there on the Vegas Golden Knights radio network starts at 3 o'clock, and then face-off just after 3:30. We'll also have the VGK Daily tomorrow, a complete recap of everything that goes down against the St. Louis Blues. So a lot happening along with us here on the Morning Skate Report. But take a breather, get some lunch, and then settle in for a 3 o'clock pregame and then 3:30 face-off as the Vegas Golden Knights Stormy take on the St. Louis Blues. Enjoy the day, and can't wait.
Yeah, it's going to be a good one. I'm excited.
Have fun, everybody.